ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.
One of CNBC TV18's flagship annual event is the India Risk Management Awards, which we present along with ICICI Lombard. Now, in the 11th year, this contest attracts hundreds of companies who are scored on exacting standards, judged by an eminent jury for their risk management and governance standards. Today, we are proud to engage this eminent jury on some of the most pressing issues that confront companies in general and their chief risk officers in particular. I'm Latha Venkatesh, and let me welcome our panelists, our eminent jury. Joining me from right to left, Bharat Panchal, the Chief Risk Security and Stakeholder Management Officer at Bima Sugam India Federation. He's rendered yeoman service to India's digital public infrastructure. Next is P Balaji, the Group Head Governance, Risk and Compliance and Corporate Affairs at Air India. Kamala K, the Chief Regulatory Officer at Bombay Stock Exchange. Sandeep, Batra, the CFO, Pidilite Industries. And Prem Kumar, General Manager, Controls Assurance, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Gentlemen, and Kamala, thank you very much indeed for your time. I know what a rigorous jury process you'll have gone through, looking at hundreds of companies. But now is the time to give us your wisdom. Kamala, I'm going to start with you. As the Chief Regulations Officer at BSC, you are looking at literally 6,000 companies and what they disclose as risk. What is the sense you are getting? Is there an elevated awareness of artificial intelligence risk and risk in general?
I think AI and ML are two jargons which are not leaving anybody unscathed or untouched. So definitely AI and ML are at the limelight and at the central focus of most of the growing organizations. And you mentioned about 6,000 listed companies, not to forget that we also have the largest set of market participants and member community and exchanges themselves and MIAs themselves using technology extensively. I think AI and ML are here to stay, and they are creating awareness. And more importantly, everybody is focused on how to use them constructively to ease life for one and all in all sectors is what I think.
What about BSE itself?
Yes.
Is that one of the new babies that you all are grappling with?
See, market infrastructure institutions have always been early adopters of technology, and our trading and all happened seamlessly without any human intervention.
Yes.
That itself is a proof that we were using AI for a long time, even though AI terminology came in now. But even in our service processes where we have to deliver services, we are adopting AI ML. And as an experimentation, newly what we have started is on the listing side, to read the bulky DRHP documents, we are on an experimental basis using AI, and the results are very encouraging. Going forward, we want to extend this to many more activities within the exchange.
Bharat Panchal, let me come to you. Actually, not just in Bima Sugam, but before that, in various UPI bodies or NPCIL bodies, you have almost laid India's digital public infrastructure. AI must be most useful in terms of handling the massive big data. Can you tell us what are the initial experiments you all are doing with AI, and what should we be prepared for in terms of new services?
We are all now used to with AI. But when it comes to AI, and especially when the risk management parlance comes, so far we were always reactive. But with AI, it is all predictive. So that's where the AI is really helping for predictive risk management, because we are not here just to see what is happening, but how we can react on that, how fast we can react on in any kind of some risk scenario. That's where AI is really helping. And when we are talking about the digital public infrastructure, where everything is on the fly, everybody wants at real time. So it is just not only from the prediction point of view, but when when you are processing massive number of transactions, be it at UPI or in the stock market or in multiple area, how we can use AI in the real time, in the fraction of second, I would say in millisecond rather, and take decision based on that real-time monitoring. That is today's ask. And I think India is blessed to have a very strong digital public infrastructure, and thankfully, the thought process of having AI or kind of decision making based on AI is well embedded in every concept of newer and new innovative services what we are bringing to the nation. And I believe India has far more to go, but we have very strong base as far as use of AI is concerned today.
This is very interesting. You're saying that until now we had a lot of data for reactive use,
Yes.
but this will help predictive.
Yes.
Is there any something more concrete or commonplace example you can give us, which a commoner will understand?
One of the use cases, if I have to say that, when you are having transaction banking, where you get a lot of frauds today reported, right? Now, when money is moving at very lightning speed, how you can detect it, and you can, using that data, you can, from demographic point of view, that, okay, if you are sitting here, the transaction happening in next 2 minutes from the distance of 2,000 kilometers, which is impossible.
Oh, so a fraud has
Yes,
happened.
that's a fraud. That's where the AI is really picking up those transactions, and before the money is debited or credited in your account,
Block.
there's a red flag that, hey, this is a fraudulent transaction, stop the transaction. So that's the one use case. But we have plenty of choices, plenty of options where we can use AI in the rural part, because that's where the large, we want to engage people without dealing too much with the security or jargon of AI, ML and technology. How we can make the ease in their life using AI. A lot of use cases are there, and make sure, I'm sure that as and when we progress in a couple of areas, you will see the best use of AI to uplift the social economy or ecosystem of the country.
In airlines, it must be important all across, from safety to customer comfort. Can you tell us the few things where you are already using artificial intelligence, Balaji?
The airline business is all about safety and regulations. To give you an idea, in the jurisdictions that we fly, we have over 13,000 plus compliances that we have to basically report. And so from the simple thing of putting them on tools and making sure there's a governance framework in place, and also that we can actually look at, should I say, compliance checks, you would not be able to do it without using technology or machine learning. On the customer comfort, which you so rightly pointed out, clearly there's a lot of queries people have. And we've now got an industry-leading chatbot called AI.G. Over 90% of all our queries are being handled, customer queries are being handled out there. We're now looking at deploying it in for technology for hastening the refunds. What used to take a long time, we can do in a matter of hours or days.
Are you also able to detect at what times there will be rush?
Absolutely. So looking at the patterns and flows, we're able to do that in a good time. On the safety side, which you again talked about so importantly, we have tools that allow us to actually look at flight paths and make sure that we can optimize for fuel as well as carbon emissions, predictive maintenance by looking at sensor data coming from various parts to basically make it even safer and even more customer-centric.
Sandeep, Pidilite is known for its extraordinary advertising and communication. But as the CFO, are you able to use ML or artificial intelligence already? Is it already something that you'll do on a daily basis?
Absolutely. I think today, without the use of technology, you will probably not be able to survive. And I think the way, at least in my mind, I have segmented the application of this technology. The first and basic is, how do you improve the ease of doing business? And not necessarily ease of doing business with third party, even internally. And maybe one example would be that as an organization, we have a large repository of systems and processes. And imagine somebody new comes to the organization and he wants to know a little bit about policy. Now, the only way in the legacy system is he has to go through the library of all the policies. But today, thanks to technology, he just types what he wants and presto comes the answer along with the policy. So it really simplifies the internal way of working. Similarly, the way we have improved the way our retailers do business with us. So we have an app, and maybe the app would have started during COVID when physical contact was difficult. But today, thanks to the fact that more than a third of our business comes from this app, we have a large amount of data which is available digitally. So first you get data and then you decide how you mine the data, how do you kind of improve the range that you sell to that retailer. So that's one part of use of technology. The second part is about around controls, which is something very natural to a CFO. So how do you use technology to improve controls? And in every organization, you have preventive controls and you have detective controls. Everybody wants to move to preventive controls. There's no point identifying a incident
After it
has happened, right? So how do you use technology to improve the number of a proportion of preventive controls? And then the final one is the icing and the cherry on the cake is how do you use this unstructured data that is available all over, not just in India, over the world, to make and predict some insights which you can action on.
That is new products, you mean, or new markets?
Trends, markets, what may be happening, what may be triggering something. See, the last bit is the classic unknown. What I know, I can use technology, but the unknown is the one that will create the big opportunity for tomorrow.
Okay. Well, Prem, you all are spread across so many countries, ever so many products, and premiumization, it's nuanced. I don't know how many 100,000 products you'll have. What is the Unilever, handover to you in terms of use of artificial intelligence?
So from an artificial intelligence point of view at Unilever, there are multiple facets, right? I mean, our company is one of the company where the supply chain model is the most mature. Let's put it that way, right?
And it has to be.
Of course, whether it is local sourcing or international, I think AI has really helped in terms of predictive analysis, what's changing in the markets, the noise on social media, or the changes in tariffs, sanctions, everything put together. I think AI has really been useful in terms of some of these, predictions that we would want to do. Look at it also from the point of view of, say, reading contracts, right? We have contracts with multiple, vendors in multiple languages, various terms. How do you really bring in the right, conditions into your systems to be able to check those? While we may have standard contracts, but every country geography is different, languages again.
So you're getting work done faster, you're saying?
Yes, definitely, AI is helping in that zone. In terms of the entire manufacturing process, a lot of processes can now become low touch or no touch. And to that extent, the people working in the factories are able to use systems in a much more easier manner. Say, for example, predictive maintenance, or just based on Internet of Things, the data that is available tells you where something is not going right. Are you able to make the right interventions? From an overall controls perspective, I think, Sandeep spoke about it, but to be able to detect anomalies much earlier. Look at from the point of view of audits. Typically, you would, wait for a period to get over for some of this data to be available. But now you can do something more concurrent. You can move away slowly from sample testing to 100% testing where data is supportive. So AI, I think, has multiple uses in our organization, and I'm sure we are benefiting just like others.
I have to take a quick commercial break, and thereafter the more searching questions. We are back in a jiffy.
ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11. ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.
Welcome back to this special jury panel discussion of the India Risk Management Awards presented by ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18. We have an eminent jury which went through literally hundreds of companies' presentations on risk management and decided winners. We now have their collective wisdom to speak to us about artificial intelligence, which was the key topic of this year's contest. Mr. Panchal, I want to come to you on Bima Sugam. Can you give us an idea of what is in store in terms of what it brings to the digital public infrastructure in the insurance space?
Well, we are building a digital marketplace where we aim to provide, single journey. I mean, one can come to that Bima Sugam digital marketplace and can take anything and everything pertaining to insurance. We want to make life easy for people. Insurance is under-penetrated sector in our country today. Leveraging on technology, we want to reach to every single individual, because that's where the vision of Prime Minister, that insurance for all by 2047. How we can take that leapfrog step here using the technology. That's all about the Bima.
That is the overall aim. But I'm asking you from a consumer point of view. Will you give me a one-stop shop where I will be able to analyze how much insurance I need, how much insurance my family needs, where should I go for it? How do I get my claim settled? Is that the ultimate goal?
The objective is very clear. How we can give the best of the best technology, using best technology, how we can give ease, comfort, and the most importantly, trust among the customer. When anybody wants to buy an insurance, the trust is associated when you come to that platform. That's a whole objective. Of course, we are more relying on AI and technology because it is a digital marketplace. We have to be on AI and that. But that the whole objective is to make the claim process faster with very less anomaly in the whole manual process. What we are seeing today, it will completely, I would say, paradigm shift the way the whole processing is happening in the insurance sector.
On that point, Kamala, you all have too much data in nanoseconds. Have you all already been able to detect, say, either fraud or some kind of glitch, mismatch? Is technology already helping you?
See, market surveillance is one of the important functions of a stock exchange.
Exactly.
And we have been using very top-of-the-class technology to real-time basis identify patterns. Anything that unusually is happening in the market, we are able to detect on the fly. So we have an online surveillance team, offline surveillance team. So online surveillance team feeds the offline. So technology is already in use so far as surveillance is concerned. But what we are also equally paranoid is, see, we monitor activity at client level. So millions of clients operating on a regular basis. So any pattern that indicates that client's interest is going to be impacted adversely, we do have mechanisms to, identify, touch base with the concerned market participant and initiate action so that investors
are regulators asking you for data very often to probably, monitor suspected
the information sharing between exchanges and regulator is real time also. So whatever data we are looking at, even regulator is looking at. But we have our own segregation when it comes to what we see. But we are also seeing increasingly the newest in our scheme of surveillance is use of this, videos, artificial videos, identity thefts to market, investments, illegal influencers and influencers marketing to investors. We are trying to work hard on that so that investors are not defrauded. So this is an area that constantly nags us.
Prem, do you see life changing very drastically in terms of, availability of raw material? Or do you think that at Hindustan Lever, things are largely national and the tariff war may not be a big deal?
Organizations like ours are, very strong on the supply chain resilience. Of course, any event which is commodity linked will impact an organization of our size and the kind of products that we have. So without getting to specifics, there are, enough strategies around, both locally and globally, that we would be working on to manage the impact, to the organization.
Effort is just to understand whether business will change dramatically. What about you all, Sandeep? Is the trade war an issue? Or do you think only a bit of exports or something can be impacted? Or, is it raw material? Will things become uncertain in terms of shipments? Is that a management risk?
Absolutely. I think 3 or 4 years back when this Russia-Ukraine war started, that was a time when a lot of people in India woke up to geopolitics as a risk. Prior to that, nobody's risk library or report would cover geopolitics as a risk because it was not something that impacted, but India got impacted.
It took it for granted.
Yeah, that it's happening in some other country, but the impact in India and Indian companies was real.
Occasional raw material would become expensive.
But for us, that had severe impact. So for us, any incident which happens outside could have an impact.
Because of crude?
Because of, we don't know, what reacts with what. It's a chemical reaction that I don't understand. So what I say is with a caveat that it is basis whatever is in public domain now, because these announcements which are causing
They
this,
can change
they can
in
change
a month, yes.
But as we speak, the impact on our business looks to be limited. We do have some exports which could get impacted by tariffs, but on the other side, there could be some benefits that we get because some other country becomes less competitive because their tariff is more than the tariff on India.
Balaji, I want to come back to the topic that was given to us, artificial intelligence. What is the future course that you are seeing? Where do you see it changing the way airlines work? And will it also be a part of sustenance and ESG? Does it make its inroads even there?
Most certainly. I think every facet of our business is where we can use AI or machine learning and related technologies to provide better service, safer service to our customers. On one hand, you can talk about operational efficiency. I'm just starting at a base level. Anything that's routine can obviously be automated, means lower cost, more efficiency, benefit to customer and benefit to stakeholders. That's number one. I spoke about checks that you do for compliances at one end, but also fraud detection and so on. Because when we have a lot of people becoming loyalty customers,
members, yes.
You automatically then are giving them currency, and that currency has to be protected very seriously. So that's one area that we obviously are looking at technology deployment. If you look at the data that we obviously carry of passengers, extremely important that it's done responsibly in a trustworthy manner and a very safe and secure way. Therefore, there again is an element that we end up having technology like AI and others that we need to be mindful of from both a defense strategy as well as something that can be an impact for our business.
Okay. The more important thing in airlines, at least you just need that many people for service.
Yes.
But would you worry that there will be, Prem, I'm just asking you because you all cater to so many countries. Is there a fear of individuals being replaced by bots?
If you really look at from an AI point of view, I think it cannot survive without the human intervention. Let's put it that way, right? Because it's still at such a nascent stage. It is dependent on data, and the data quality and the structure, I think, is still not that mature. That's number one. There is a lot of element of bias because this is still new. I mean, there needs to be intervention in terms of really contextualizing data rather than just saying or reading data and just making a trend.
Not a threat.
At this moment, I don't see it as a threat for us. Neither I would expect it for the large industry. Of course, there is an element of automation, and that has been there for many years, right? But we have to go beyond RPA, robotic process automation, to see how AI can really help more in terms of decision making, right?
So better decisions rather than fewer people is likely to be the impact.
I think that's...
You would agree, Sandeep?
Absolutely. I think it is not about, be it RPA, bots, it is not about replacing people. It is just about improving the quality of the work that the people do. Because, let's take one very classic thing, the whole reconciliation that people in finance do. It is required to be done. It was done 30 years back by people. Then came computers, laptops. Tomorrow, technology, a bot will do it. But does it mean that you need less? You need people to make sense of that information and the time that they spend on analysis and action as opposed to only preparation.
Okay. I think you corporate risk officers have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, but we as citizens have an equal amount of responsibility because of AI and whether we use it as an opportunity or whether we use it as a liability. Thank you very much, gentlemen and Kamala, for a very interesting conversation.
ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.